Hi there, it's Beauty Junkie. Welcome to my channel. Today we're getting into the McGrath Mothership palette. This is her 10th palette, Moonlit Seduction. I can't believe I have all the Mothership palettes. This is the 10th one. It's crazy to me. I never thought I would have this many eyeshadow palettes like this in my collection. Look at this, you guys. We are gonna get into swatches. I'm gonna do some eye looks. I have to admit, I'm just gonna do a little bit of an overview, my initial thoughts on this palette when it first came out. I thought, oh, is this another Divine Rose? Just because of the pink packaging. I thought, oh, but you know, it doesn't have the roses. We're kind of going back, well, actually, never mind. It does have a little bit of roses, but I guess we're going back to the traditional motif on the palette packaging, so we're not doing heavy rose anymore, although I mean you could have fooled me. And I think a lot of people are saying that this color story is not entirely new and it does kind of go with that Divine Rose collection, but I would say after swatching these, I think this one is not really rose centered or pink centered once you look at the swatches up close, but this palette is pretty. I will say there's 5 shades with glitter in them, so be warned. But this palette is the same cost as the previous palettes, 10 shades. Here is the names of the shades. You get a name card. This palette lasts 18 months. It's made in Italy, black, shiny packaging, gold on the back. You guys know the drill. This is 19.5 grams of product total. Net weight is 6.680 ounces. And it does have the name on the back in tiny print here. $128 if you buy it when it first comes out. You can get 10% off, but eventually all her palettes do go on sale and you can get probably 30% off at most. You might have to buy something else. But these palettes do go on sale, so if you're really into this, a few months from now, you can pick it up on sale if you want. But what I was saying is this price of this palette has not increased, and I'm sure the cost to make them has. Some people have noted that some of the special shades are not as special anymore. They're just glitter, maybe not as much multi-chrome effect or duochrome effect. When I swatched them, I kind of noticed a little bit of difference in that the glitters were, I don't know if not as vibrant is the word, but not as eye-catching or not as shiny, sparkly. So I may have noticed a little bit of difference in the formula in some of these shades on the end here. But it still looked pretty on the swatch. It's just a matter of whether you guys like these shades or not. But I would say a lot of these shades are pretty mass appealing. Let's get into swatches. So at the time of filming, I always film in natural light and the sun is really bright and hot right now. It's 100 degrees out. I'm dying right now. I have the AC on. Apologize for the noise, but the light might kind of be overly bright in some of the shots of the swatches. So I'm just going to show those now. Hopefully that was helpful. So you guys can see the reflection. You guys can see there's 3 mattes, 2 kind of shimmery shades here with no glitter. The rest of these have glitter, various amounts. This is kind of our duochrome-y, most special shade probably out of the palette. But I think it's not a super unique shift. It's kind of that brown to blue and red. It's definitely something I've seen before. It's a pretty popular duochrome type of color, but it still looks really pretty and smooth, at least on the swatch. So let's just jump into applying. Sorry, before I get into applying, I want to share with you a sample that I got in my order, which I normally don't get samples. I didn't request this. It just showed up in my box. A little bit surprising, but a good surprise. This is a sample of Pat McGrath Divine Skin Rose, the Essence. This is her first skincare product, and I don't have it on my face today. I do have foundation and powder and all that on, but I will say I thought it was moderately hydrating when I put it on. It's a very liquidy essence, so it's an essence is like a hydrating, lightweight toner, very runny. And when you put it on, you kind of tap it into the skin. It absorbs very quickly. A lot of people put this on just before other serums and before moisturizer, just as a layering hydration step. It definitely smells like rose, but I wouldn't say it's overbearing compared to other skincare products that have fragrance in them. But I just put a little bit. It smells pleasant enough, and it does have this kind of light pink shade to it, although you can't really see. I wouldn't say, just on first impressions of trying it, maybe I have to use it long term to really notice the benefits or feel the benefits. I wouldn't say this essence is worth it just from trying it out the first time. There are a lot better hydrating, lotiony formulas out there for a fraction of the price. So I don't think this is necessary, but it's interesting she came out with this as her first sort of skincare product, just because I don't know that everyone really gets why essences are good. It's kind of an Asian beauty kind of thing, but it's definitely gotten more and more popular over the years. But I don't know, interesting. I mean, I'm sure it's kind of one of those moisturizers that literally works for everyone, no matter your skin type. So I guess it makes sense. Just my initial thoughts. All right, let's get into applying this palette. Where do I start? So there's some reds and sort of mauve-y. This isn't necessarily purple like I thought it would be. It's not like, I don't know, that dark. It's more of a brown purpley color. This is more of a smoky brown color, and this is more red leaning. So if I wanted to use this shade, I would use this brown color. But there is a lot of neutrally colors up in here all over the place. I would say just from swatches, this looks not as purple as I want it to be, or bright or shiny. Little bit disappointed in this guy here, which is Astral Lilac Aura. It's just very light purple. So what do I want to play with? I'm gonna start out with some sort of matte shade. I'm gonna go into Rosewood Romantique, which is that reddish matte color here. Go in really gently with Pat McGrath. We don't want to oversaturate the lid right away. You can see I have makeup on my eyelid that is creasing. I think it's the powder or something on my lids. I'm just very sweaty right now, so my lids are pretty dewy. But I'm just gonna plop this on anyway, no primer. I do have the Artistry wand from Pat McGrath. In case I want to use a glitter, I will put this on before I put the glitter. So in this lighting in my mirror, this shade looks more red than in the camera. It looks a little bit brown. I am not going to do comparisons to other shades in the other palettes in this video, just because I want to keep things nice and short for you guys. If you are interested in comparisons, I might just do the video anyway, just for my own curiosity, what shades are similar in the other palettes. But I just want to keep this one light and get into the makeup on my face, because I just really want to try out this palette. And of course, my videos are always up late. Apologies. Hopefully you guys can still pick it up if you still want it. I feel like these days Pat McGrath and Motherships are not selling out right away like they used to, and that is a-okay with me. So we have Rosewood Romantique on the lid. I think that is super pretty. Just buffing it out a little bit. I'm going to deepen things up a little bit with Plum Cabaret on the outside here. I do have mascara on because I did go to work today, and I knew I was gonna film when I got home, so I didn't wear any eyeshadow. Plum Cabaret is going to make this have a little bit more depth, but it's honestly not very dark shade. Not a very dark shade. So I'm glad they have some of this smoky color, Extreme Nocturne. If you really want to deepen that crease, I would probably use that matte color instead, or on top of these two here. So Extreme Nocturne, just a little bit on the edge here. There we go. There we get that sexy smoky on the edge. Wow, I'm really liking that. So I want to take Plum Cabaret underneath the eye. So I'm going to go into Skin Intense Glow, which is our lightest shimmery shade, which pretty much every Pat McGrath palette has a light shade like this. There's just different varieties. Sometimes I wish she would change it up a little bit. Ooh, this version of a light inner corner shade I really like because it's not super gold. So it's really pretty on my skin tone. Almost a bit silvery. Ooh, I think now I'm getting into the Moonlight portion of the palette. That is a pretty inner corner shade. I'm gonna do a swatch so you guys can see a little better. It's not, even though it kind of seems gold, it's really light. So that, I really like that for my skin tone. So that's a standout shade to me so far, even though it looks pretty unremarkable in the pan and in terms of Pat McGrath in general. Like, she has a bunch of shades like this, but this particular tone, yes, 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 yes. Let's go into this crazy VR Sextasy shade. She's always got to have a shade that has the word sex in it. So this is the Artistry Wand. It's kind of like a priming Vaseline eye stick. So it's, I admit, a little bit gimmicky, but the shape of it I think is kind of key. It does dry out though, and it does kind of collect that old eyeshadow on there. So this is the shape of it, kind of like an eyebrow shape, but this is for your eyelid. Quickie pen, and I'm gonna put some on the lid where I'm gonna put this glitter. Finger, yeah, look at that. Isn't that fun? It's got some green in there too. So I do like this because it's just very impactful and has a ton of shift. This is a very shiny shade. This is probably the most exciting color to most people. I just don't find it very unique at all. Tons of brands, I believe even Sephora collection brand has a color like this. It's not as good and shiny, but even they have a color like this that I have purchased. I think Urban Decay had a color like this. I mean, the list goes on, and that's okay. I still like it. It's still pretty. I'm still gonna use it, even though others exist. I mean, every color in the rainbow has been made by now, you know? I'm gonna use some of my Inglot Duraline to get this to adhere a little bit better. I've never really done this too much using this product, but I'm hoping it will just prevent a little bit of fallout here, and stick this in the very corner. That's a lot of glitter. A lot of glitter happening. Looks like I am crying glitter. Palette, I'm going into Platinum Dusk underneath the eye here. I don't normally put glitter under the eye, but I feel like this is deep enough. So much glitter happening in this look. Okay, I think I'm done. I'm done with the palette. We're gonna move on. Astral Gold Lust is super chunky gold looking. I'm not gonna put that on. So the colors that I didn't use today is these two and this one. So I used a good chunk of the palette. You may not see all the colors, but they are there. All right, so I'm gonna do some final touch-ups. I do want to show you guys another look at some of her new blushes before I go, and show you what the highlighter looks like with this look. So I have two of her new blush duos, Paradise Glow and Cosmic Coral. So which one do I want to go with? I think the one with the pink is gonna look pretty good. Take a large brush here and sweep this on. Highlighter I have from the 2021 Christmas collection. This is a really pretty highlighter. It's very smooth. It is a little bit platinumy gold. Very nice. Okay, so I will be back. I'm gonna touch up my mascara. I may throw on, I don't think I need a pencil liner, but you definitely could. I have the Pat McGrath Extreme Black pencil here. You could definitely kind of smoke up that top line a little bit, but there's so much going on. I'm okay without it. I am gonna finish off with lips from Pat here. I have her Suburbia lip pencil, the soft core matte trans lipstick, and the Faux Real Lust Gloss. We're gonna do this trio on my lips. I will be back with the final look. Alright guys, this is the final look. What do you guys think? Are you digging the shiny lips? I would probably next time would just go with a matte lip just because we got so much shine going on up here. But I do love the combination of colors. This is a gorgeous palette. I mean, that's why I say you can't go wrong with Pat McGrath, but I know everyone has different shade preferences. People definitely want something new always. I agree, this palette is not totally new in the makeup world, but it's pretty hard to make revolutionary palettes these days. But I do appreciate what's happening here. I think a lot of people will. So gorgeous. All right, so let's get into my first impression thoughts on this one. Will I be reaching for it? Where does it rank? Speaking of ranking videos, I have a ranking video of the first 9 palettes, not including this one, if you guys want to check it out. I'm not sure where this one would fall. I wouldn't put it, to summarize my thoughts, I wouldn't quite put it at the top because there's not enough shades in here that I absolutely love. I wish there was another shade that was super stand out to me in this palette besides the few that I really like. And some of these shades really surprised me. I was like, oh, another purple, but I like this one. And it's a matte, so you would think, oh, not exciting, but Plum Cabaret I really like. Even this brown smoky shade, I thought it did a lot for this look. But it's kind of one of those, you know, not appreciated background matte shades. So it's not like super exciting or like a top shade in this palette, but it was one of those side characters that helped out a lot. So I do like Plum Cabaret. This one I really like. From like all of her like light shimmery shades, is probably one of my favorites. Skin Intense Glow. I just love the tone of it on my skin. It's not super gold and it's pretty, so I could build a look all around this, and probably just using this quad right here would be a really pretty look. Maybe using some of these shimmery browns and champagne-y colors as well, mixing those in, that would be really pretty. Of course, Pat has tons of gold in all her palettes. I'm over it. I don't use like tons of just straight up gold eyeshadow, and so this one it's pretty, but it's a little boring to me. This is Bronze Devotion, but I'm sure you can get a gorgeous look out of it. I'm just like, it's okay. This one, Platinum Dusk, a little bit different. I would say it's like a lighter, like not a lighter brown. I'm gonna describe this one. A metallic brown that isn't too deep of a brown, like it's got a lot of high shine to it to kind of make it look a little bit lighter. So I kind of like that one. I would like to incorporate this one in the look more. I put a little bit under here. You can't really see it, but this one was a little bit more exciting. So I like these two. This one obviously I really like. It's the star of the show on my lids. It's a shade we've all seen before, but the amount of shine it gives off is pretty spectacular. The rest of these, I don't know about this one. It's kind of like another gold, you know, like a peachy brownie gold. Not an exciting color to me, and this lilac is not very lilac. It's like barely purple. And for like a Moonlit Seduction palette, you kind of want that moonlit light colors. But I want this to be a little bit more purpley. Just a little bit more pigment behind it. It's pretty much just straight up really light purple glitter, but I would want more purple to it, to be honest. I would want just more purple in general throughout the palette. Just to create something a little different. And this chunky gold glitter I'm just not interested in. So I would have to say I like 3 shades out of the palette really so far, and of course I have to do more looks, use more of these shades. Maybe I'll change my mind, but first impressions with 3 shades that I'm like really liking. This will not be at the top of my ranking list, but I do love the look that I got out of it. So it's really a nice, pretty palette. What time of year would you wear this in? Anytime. It just depends what you like. I think there's a lot of neutrals in here. A lot of people will be happy with it as long as you're good with 5 glitters. It's a lot of glitter for me personally. I prefer more intense shimmery and metallics without chunky glitters. So yeah, that also is kind of a ding for me on this palette, but the formula is great for what these are. As I said, I do think they are trying to cut costs and maybe some of the expense of these special shades by including kind of a different formula, not as fancy of a formula. I think this one is probably expensive, but the rest of these, I'm not really sure how special they are. So it seems like she is cutting corners on cost somehow. I don't know, would you guys pay more than the current cost for this palette, or would you be like, yeah, I'm not buying Pat McGrath's Motherships anymore? Let me know in the comments below if you guys pick this up, if you're planning to pick it up. If it entices you somewhat, but there's some parts of it that you don't like, let me know as well. I don't know, I'm still sort of developing my thoughts on it, but first impressions, I think you guys can wait on this one just because there's not a ton of shades that are totally unique or super exciting or like new feeling. I think that's always what we want to feel like. Oh, I'm creating a totally new look with this palette. That's what I like to get out of a palette, but I don't quite feel that with this one. And you guys could probably tell by just looking at the shades online that that was going to be the case. But I don't know, with her swatches and the pictures, some of these shades look totally different in person. But I would say overall, this was probably the most deceiving one. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. If you like this video, click the thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye, guys.